Hey guys, this is Drax, back with a final class guide on Star Wars Battlefront 2, and this time we'll be looking at the Assault. So in this one, we'll be going through the Assault's abilities, how to use them, the Assault's weapons, what's best in certain situations, which one you might like the most, and of course a selection of star cards that I recommend for the class. So if you have been having trouble getting kills or battle points with the Assault, then this guide is for you. Starting with the default loadout, the Assault has the thermal detonator, the Vanguard ability, a scan dart, and a blaster rifle. The thermal detonator is great in so many situations. A large group of enemies, throw one in there. A singular enemy one-on-one, throw one at the beginning of the fight and he will have to think about it going off throughout. If you start to lose, throwing a detonator might take down the enemy with you. If someone just ducks around a corner after you've shot them a few times, send the detonator in after them. Basically, anytime this ability is available, use it. With good placement, explosives really do a lot of work in this game. Then we have the Vanguard ability. This is probably the best ability in game. When activated, you gain a boost to your movement speed and take out a shock blaster capable of dispatching troopers and heroes with devastating damage. If you're trying to get kills with the Assault, maybe trying to get past the first weapons, use this ability more. Be aggressive with it, get right up in the face of the opponents, and use the movement speed to stay alive and chain kills. The amount of heroes I've killed with this ability and had killed with this ability show how strong it really is. I would not be surprised if it was tweaked a bit in the future, but for now, make sure you use it to rack up those kills. And finally, we have the scan dart, useful for letting you know if enemies are nearby, showing their outline. If you see any red on the minimap and suspect one might be close, fire off a dart to check it out. This ability really gives you the upper hand, knowing when an enemy is just about to peek a corner or run around it. Before entering a room, you can use this one to scan it first. Maybe if it's an objective you have to capture, if you know where they are waiting inside, you gain the upper hand by scanning the room or area first. So 3 great starter abilities right there, but how about the main weapons? Let's take a look at the blaster rifles you'll be unlocking for the class and each of their attachments. So the first weapon to unlock here is the A280. This is a 3-round burst fire weapon capable of doing decent damage at all ranges. The burst comes with a bit of kick, so you do need to learn to compensate the recoil with this one a little to be effective at range, but once you do, it performs very well. I ended up with the extra cooling and improved range. As with the Assault, I mostly like to use the class in close to medium range fights, and this worked really well. Swapping out the cooling for the scope could be a good choice for longer range fights, but I personally would miss the extra cooling. Then we have the CR2, which is unlocked after 200 kills or included with the Elite Trooper Deluxe bundle. This for me is my favourite weapon for the class and probably in the game. Its high rate of fire is unmatched by any other weapon and devastates enemies in close range. Even at longer ranges with so many boats flying downrange, it performs quite well. I paired it with a light stock that reduces the recoil and a night vision scope. The recoil wasn't that bad to start with, but once you get it reduced, dancing with your enemies and taking them out becomes an easy task. The night vision scope gives you better effectiveness on those darker night maps. The ion shot is good for attacking objectives, but it does reduce this weapon's damage against infantry, so I didn't run it for very long. And finally, the 500 kill weapon, the EL-16HFE. This weapon for me isn't quite what comes to mind when you say the word Assault. I think get in there and do some damage, which is why I like the CR2 and Vanguard ability on the class. The EL-16HFE is a high damage, low fire rate weapon built for medium to long range. It's excellent for counter sniping, and with the improved range and dual zoom, you can do just that. On maps like Hoth and any others that have more open spaces, this weapon really is strong, especially with the improved range. Every hit does a good chunk of damage, even to the body. So to sum these weapons up, the A280 is a weapon that performs decently at all ranges. It can be quite strong in the hands of someone who can control the recoil, but overall it doesn't really excel at anything, it just does everything well. Then we have the CR2, which is perfect for those Assault players who like to get right in on the action. Its high rate of fire devastates enemies in CQC, and for me it's the best weapon for the class. And the EL-16HFE is your high damage range weapon, favouring accuracy over fire rate. Despite it not suiting my playstyle, I still found it fun to use as it dropped enemies quickly at all ranges. So that's weapons, but how about the star cards? Well, the Assault has a lot of good star cards available, so let's take a look. I want to start off with a loadout purely for kills, as this is what you need when you first start off in the game. So number 1 card is Improved Thermal Detonator. Now this card is included at Epic tier with the Elite Trooper Deluxe Bundle, or you're going to have to craft it up. Either way, this one nets me so many kills with a quicker recharge time and larger radius. It really helps me out in a lot of ways. The next card is Toughen Up. This replaces your Scan Dart, but I think this one is more useful. It keeps you alive a bit like the Survivalist card, but quicker again. If you played the last game, it's practically the Adrenaline Stim card. When activated, it quickly heals you back up for the next few seconds. This can be ideal when facing a group of enemies, as your health will come back a lot faster than usual every time you take damage. In 1v1s you can use it to pop back into cover, say if you took a few shots, get it activated and surprise the enemy by coming back out with full health again. Sometimes they charge you after dealing some damage, and this card has saved me a good number of times. And finally I have either Killstreak Vanguard or Assault Training. Killstreak Vanguard allows you to keep Vanguard active if you keep killing with it. Higher the tier, the more time you get, and Assault Training will give you health back every time you defeat an enemy. Great for those circumstances where you're faced with multiple opponents. If you're good with movement and accuracy, this one can be quite rewarding, keeping you alive in those tough situations. This one does need to be crafted up a few tiers first before it becomes useful though. You might want to mix them up a bit and throw Survivalist in there, but these are all great if you want to stay alive and get more kills. There's also Recharge Vanguard, which takes all your abilities out of recharge when you defeat an enemy with the Vanguard ability. That's another great option right there, and of course you can always equip the Resourceful card to bring your abilities back faster again. But if you want to get more battle points, then Bounty Hunter is a card you need to get in there. At higher tiers, Rare or Epic, it gives you a lot of bonus points based on your score, and you can get the heroes and reinforcements a lot faster. I like unlocking heroes fast, so my loadout looks like this. But anyway guys, that is the complete Assault guide right there. In conclusion, the Assault is a great class which excels in staying alive and dealing damage. It's a #1 hero killer with a Vanguard ability and is great for racking up battle points fast. Yes, this class really does dominate the Battlefront. So hopefully you have enjoyed this one. I'll be back with more Battlefront 2 updates, gameplay, guides and tips soon. So as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.